Got a lot to talk about today. It's a pleasure to have you here on the Rob J Show, man.
Oh man, I appreciate the invite, man. I made the cut.
Hey, that's funny, man. People mention this cut. Like I genuinely just reach out to friends and people who I think are interested. I never knew that there was like a cut, but I guess you're gonna add to a whole nother level to it. So, hey, we welcome you here, man. You made the cut.
I appreciate it, man. I've been looking forward to it all day, actually, man.
Most def, man. Now you have an interesting story, man, because outside of us just getting to know each other, most of the time I'm around you. It's in the gym, so it's real light. But as you share some things with me, you you from Chicago, right? You came from the hood,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Robert Taylor Homes Projects, man. Robert Taylor Homes Projects, born and raised. Went to high school at DuSable High School, same school as Maurice Cheeks, just inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 76.
Yep. From Chicago, man. The area I grew up in was called the Hole because it's an area where it's three 16-story project buildings in a circle, and and literally across the street was another different gang territory or whatever. So it was always something going on, man.
Wow, man. And see, that's how I know you ain't nothing to play with, man. Because whenever I meet somebody from the hood that's kind, that if you from the hood, you from that situation, and you walk around as calm and tranquil and serene and kind as you, that means you know something. So I don't, I'm staying on your good side because I've seen it end bad for people who mess with people of your ilk, man. So you from Robert Taylor Homes and you that calm, hey, man, that's what's up, man.
I mean, one thing that I can say, like being from Chicago, man, it's made me more aware of my surroundings. You know what I'm saying? When people who may not know me as well, if we're like hanging out on a social setting or something like that, they say, "Man, your head is on a swivel." I say, "Man, I just like to see something. I like to see it coming before it happens." You know what I'm saying? I see any commotion that I look like it's about to happen, I'm out the door, man. I ain't got time to be around that.
Most def, man.
So,
In the words of the great Juvenile, I don't want to be there when it's happening either. I'd rather be somewhere ducked off, taking a nap with my people. So,
exactly.
That's what's up, man. So
it's real.
From that upcoming, man, like what? Obviously, man, you were around a lot of influences that could have deterred you or could have got you, into gang banging, and the different things that were going on. Like what kind of kept you, or what vision did you have to allow you to really just come from that start to where you are now?
Man, really, man, I didn't, man. I didn't have it. I'm the youngest of five, so I got three older brothers and an older sister, but one of my brothers was always in the street, so I guess you can say like I tried to learn from their mistakes without really knowing that I was learning from them. I didn't understand that till I got older, because as a adolescent, teenager, growing up, you wanted to do the things that your boys was doing, and real talk, one of my boys that I went to elementary school with passed away today as I tell this story, because he was one of the guys that kind of like, grew up too fast, always had money, was having sex at a real early age. And we was like, man, like you living, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, to a young kid in that environment, seeing that and the freedom that he had, that's basically what you aspire to be, So, I guess what kept me kind of on the straight and narrow was I played basketball in high school, so that kept me busy. And my mom was really, really tight on me, bro. Like, my mom being so tight on me was part of the reason why I went away to college in the beginning, because I just needed to get away. I was like, man, like she's smothering me, but I understand why now though, because I'm the youngest of five, so she had been through this 3-4 times, and she learned and she knew how to, she had the blueprint down pat. You know what I'm saying? To keep me from kind of straying away. Like, cause I mean, not putting my brother's business out there, but he used to sell a little something on the side, and whatever he had left over, he'd be like, man, you get this off, you keep the bread. And I knew it wasn't for me, when I was trying to do it, I was only like selling it to my friends, selling weed or whatever to my friends. And I knew it wasn't for me when I'm walking into the building and, cop car in front of the building. But I didn't have that mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking I'm regular. Like I don't have this on me. I didn't realize till I got upstairs, things could have been like just totally different, man. So I was like, yeah, this ain't the life for me, man. I'm not built for that or like that. And so I just had a lot of early lessons, man, and a lot of folks to kind of learn from, their situations as well, man.
Man, that's what's up, man. And hey, shout out to self-awareness, man. I mean, if nothing else, man, if your self-awareness on infinity, man, you can always know when you're doing something that ain't your lane, man. And
yeah.
No, so that's real. And hey, another hood staple. This is the difference between the hood and the middle class. In the hood, that youngest one gonna always be the one. Like in the hood, the baby is gonna be the one who break through. Now, I don't know how y'all do in Chicago, down south, New Orleans. Where I was to high school, my family from. This is how I usually go. The youngest one gonna have a different daddy, but he gonna still have the same last name as the older ones, and he gonna be the one that get all the attention and everything because he gonna have like a whole community behind him. And then the one who,
bro.
That's the
you preaching, Doc. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly like me and my brothers got a different dad, but we all got the same last name. And you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm the first one to, go to college and finish, and you know what I'm saying, and do things that the others didn't do, which they're all doing well, but it's just on a different scale. You know what I'm saying?
No, most definitely, man. And for you, go ahead.
No, and I'd be remiss to not mention my my other brother, who there's a set of twins as my brothers, and they both was kind of doing their own little thing, but one was hood and one was, kind of like me. Like he wasn't really made for it, but he'll try it. You know what I'm saying? And I can say he was like a father figure to me, especially as I was getting ready to graduate high school, because he didn't graduate high school, but he just was a hard worker. You know what I'm saying? He's doing well for himself, never graduated high school. But he wanted me to achieve the things that he didn't have the opportunity to do. So my first 3 years of college, man, he bought my school clothes. He bought me Jordans. He bought my first car. You know what I'm saying? He did things with me. He was like my best friend, man. And that helped a lot too, because those were some of those influential years where I could have really went one way or another, or had a bunch of babies around the place.
No, most def, man, and that is real. And I do think, man, one thing I think that the hood gets right is I think, just for lack of a better word, man, I think street niggas are more directly involved with the young people coming up, and if they see talent, a lot of them are more apt to go out of their way to make sure that somebody doesn't make their mistake. A lot of times then some of the brothers has been more successful, because I feel like once you get middle class, upper middle class, you start becoming far removed from younger men on a day-to-day level. Like for me, one the encouraging words that I always received came from a lot of people, but in particular, I had a cousin who was in the street. He was murdered a couple years ago, but he was a street dude, and he right. Didn't hide it, made no excuses for him doing that. But when it came to me, man, he just spoke so much. I'm like 10. Man, you're gonna do great things. He was like a Eric Thomas type. And man, like
that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's amazing just with just one person believing in you. Especially when it's somebody who you can identify with. So that's real, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It was those moments that kind of kept me going, because them first 2-3 years, my first 2.5 years of college was a wash, bro. Like, what I'm saying? I'm away from the crib, away from mom for the first time. I'm drinking, I'm partying, I ain't going to class, get them first grade academic probation. You know what I'm saying? And actually got kicked out my first year because of grades. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a learning curve. Man, I come from public school. I go to this Big Ten school. I don't know how to be a student. All I know is that I got freedom. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it was because of, you know, what my brother was doing for me, what my mom was doing for me. I was like, I can't stop because they invested too much in me. So I was a late bloomer with college, but eventually, you know what I'm saying, I got it right and got situated, man. So you spot on, brother.
Man, no, that's awesome, man. And man, I definitely can relate. You know, I went to FAMU, but for me, coming from that environment where, you know, I always had eyes on me, you know, I mean, basically, you know, I was the, you know, prize of the family, so to speak. Coming from that environment to just that freedom, you know, I wasn't ready for it. You know, it was a lot. You know, in the end, I mean, it worked out, but it was a bumpy road.
Oh man!
But for you, man, so
you wouldn't change it though, would you?
I ain't gonna lie, I probably would change it, man. I'd change it, man. You know, people always say that, man, I don't have no regrets, man. Hey, if I could go back and just knock it out, man, knock it out the park at FAMU, man, and, you know, have that dean's list, you know, do those different things that my family had done, I would do it that way. I wouldn't have chose this, but I do think a lot of value and a lot of humility came from it.
Man.
You know.
I feel like college ain't about books, man. It's about you really understanding who you are. Because if you look at it, it's a high percentage of folks that go to college for one thing and doing something totally different. But the one thing that they'll always remember is the experience. Like, man, I feel like I came into manhood in college because I learned how to pay rent. I learned how to take care of my bills and, you know, gain discipline and all this kind of stuff. It kind of shapes you if you really take advantage of that. You know what I mean? Only thing I would change, man, is the student loan debt, bro. I would have been smarter with how I utilized that. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, most definitely.
So that's on. Yeah. So, yep.
Hey, so for your bounce back, did you coming from academic probation, you went back to the same school, or did you want to transfer, or how did that work?
Oh man, what I did was I flunked out, went back home. You know how you had to eat that humble pie because just a year before, you know, your people throwing this big going away party, like, oh man, you about to, you know, you go and then you back home. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, 9 months later, you back at the crib. But no, man, I went home and I enrolled in junior college, man, Harold Washington College, downtown Chicago, and I just took classes. I was part-time because I was working. I took classes just to kind of learn how to be a student. Did that for a year, got reinstated back at the University of Iowa because it was like, you know how we are. Somebody kick you down, you got to go back and like prove them wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
So I got reinstated, and it was a different vibe. You know what I'm saying? I knew how to study, I knew how to be a student, but then the financial situation came into play, and had a good semester. Had a 2.7. For me, that was good coming from, you know, academic probation.
Most
you know, but I couldn't afford it anymore, and I couldn't enroll because I had a balance. But what I could do was transfer my credits from Harold Washington College to another junior college in Iowa. Because I started at the University of Iowa, and it's a small junior college down there called Kirkwood College, and transferred my credit and basically started over.
Wow. And
because my mindset was, I can't go home without something. I got to have some type of piece of paper to prove, you know what I'm saying? Like I did something while I was there. I didn't just waste time and money. And, you know, so I did a program in a year and a half, got my associates, transferred back home to Chicago State University. Did another 3 years because, of course, they subtract credits when you transfer, all that kind of stuff. Did another 3 years, got my bachelor's, pledged alpha, and then got my MBA after that, man. And then, you know, been kind of rolling ever since.
Wow, man. That is a nice, man. That's a hell of a pivot from academic probation in community college to MBA. Like,
yeah, man.
You did it all the way straight through, like from the.
Yeah. When I finished undergrad, I started working at the bank, man, downtown, and I saw opportunities there, and actually my manager, man, this white guy, he, probably a Trump supporter now that I think back at it, but this was back in 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. He said, "Man, you ever thought about studying business?" I never thought about it. I knew I wanted to always work in HR, but I never thought about the business side. And he's like, "Yeah, man, you should do your MBA, you get the business side, and you major in HR." And I was able to get a couple opportunities at the bank, and all the while, that's when I started my MBA, man. And that's what kind of led me in that direction. Because initially, I wanted to teach, but it was just so much more schooling that I would have had to do. And I was like, "Yo, I'm done. Like, I don't have the capacity for it." You know what I'm saying? I just didn't have the capacity for it, man. So I ended up kind of learning more about HR and dealing with people and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I shifted my focus toward.
Nice, man. So along that time, at what point during this journey does poetry become, something that you're performing, doing, a skill that you're developing?
Oh, man. That started, man, my freshman year at the University of Iowa. That had to be like 97. And I saw Def Poetry Jam, man. I saw Common on there. He's my favorite rapper. I saw Common on there, and then I got into that show, and I was like, man, like that's dope. Like I know true to heart, I'm not a rapper, but like that poetry thing, like I might can do something with that. Like I'd never done anything, with surrounding that or anything, but I've always loved to write. I suck at math. I'm the type that in school, I got a 25-page paper due. I wait till it's 3 days before, to do it, and I knock it out. But math, I can't do that for nothing to save my life. But that started in 97, man. And it started out very elementary, just as a hobby, because that's when I kind of learned that I was an emotional dude, you know what I'm saying? And so I was like, man, this is a good outlet, So initially, everything that I wrote about was about love. It was about girls. Oh, man. I never forget the first 4 bars of the first poem I ever wrote. It's like, what am I to do when all I could think of you? Really, that's all I can remember, the first 2 bars. But it was about a girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that sounds like the intro to an R&B song.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's when it started, man. And in college, you got, when you at these predominantly white schools, like you lean heavy. If you're a black student, you lean heavy on your BSU, your Black Student Union. So, they had these potlucks and they had these poetry nights and all that kind of stuff, man. I get up there and I would read my poems off my paper, and it was just, just something to do, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And the more I wrote, the more I said, man, I'm tired of writing about love. I'm tired of writing about I want to challenge myself to write about different things, because that came from, the variety that I saw on Def Poetry Jam. Then I started reading more, and so I kind of challenged myself to start writing about different things. And the more you do something, the better you get at it. And I would always go to these open mics and read my poems off my paper. I didn't have a cadence. I didn't have a rhythm. It was legit like I'm in English class reading a monologue. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until 7 years ago, my boy TJ, they had an art event in Houston, and he knew that I wrote poetry. And I had been in Houston maybe about 3 years, and I've been going to the poetry lounge, and I had that itch. I said, man, I need to go on and get back into it, because I hadn't done nothing in like 8 years. I said, I need to get back into it. Still never did it. TJ made me do it. It was the first time I ever had to memorize my poems. So I memorized 3 of my poems, and bro, I had the video up on YouTube. I had to take it down, bro, because looking back, I was like, nah, I can't leave this up, man.
Shout out to old videos on YouTube, man.
Oh, man. Man, I've never said any poems so fast in my life, because I was afraid I would forget. But then from there, people just started asking me to do more, come to their church and do this, come do that. So I started writing more. And then the show Verses and Flow came out. And somebody's like, man, you should audition for that. Audition the first year? No. kept writing. Auditioned the second year. I was like, yeah, this could be my year because I was solid. I was more polished. I felt like I belonged, and got the no email. Third time, I was like, yo, I'm going to try it one more time. And I kept trying to get like perfect video, and it never happened, man. So the night of the deadline of the submission was midnight. I'm in my apartment, bro. I taped my iPhone up to my hallway wall with duct tape, and I reversed the camera, and I spit that poem like maybe 5 times. And I took the best one and submitted it, and that's the one that got me on the show, man.
Wow, man. But one thing, man. Major key alert.
Yeah.
That what you just said though. Not at one point did one of those no's make you bitter, make you, I think a lot of artists really don't handle rejection well. That was one of my big challenges. I mean, the reason I stopped rapping was my ego. I was like, man, I'm not finna email some 22-year-old from Dartmouth to write about this no more. And it, so that really got to me. But the fact that like you could just name that level of humility to where it was like, I'm gonna just try it one more time, almost as an experiment. And I'm starting to realize, man, I think the experiment approach is the safe space because it's not as much emotion in it. I wonder if I could do this.
Or pressure.
Yeah, exactly. So that's man, that's awesome, man. And I saw Versus, and I've seen you post about it several times. I didn't know it was I thought that was like a movement that you were building. I didn't know that was a show that you auditioned to be on. So what happens?
Yeah.
What happens to your poetry and everything once you get accepted to that?
So man, they fly me out to LA, and it's this dope experience, man. It was a 16-hour day. You know what I'm saying? They treating you like a star. They touching up your makeup. They dressing you. You're doing photo shoots. You're doing video drops. You're doing commercials, and then you do the show at night. And I'm kicking it with like Molly Music and K. Michelle and Anthony Hamilton and you know what I'm saying, Joe. It was just a really dope experience. So after that, got more notoriety. Followers went up or whatever. Not tremendously, but got more notoriety, man. Started really like taking it more serious. Traveled a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Use that platform to, in my free time, go and speak to the kids at these elementary schools around Houston, man, and just try to build on it and try to really develop the entrepreneurial side of being an artist, the business side of it, and kind of understanding that if you ain't just like popping like that, you got like a machine behind you where you've built. If it real talk, like, if you don't have something that go viral, it's hard to really like stay hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every now and again, you need something to go viral to kind of keep that. And when that happens, then you get more bookings. But I've never had an agent. I never had a manager. None of that kind. I do all of my own stuff. So for me, it was like a grassroots thing, man. Where I was like, okay, if I take this show for these, for $100. You like, okay, it's a good opportunity because it's a room full of people who don't know me. Mm-hmm. So I'll take the 100. You know what I'm saying? Just because for the exchange of it's 300 people in there that don't know me, and I got $1,000 worth of merch with me right now.
No doubt.
So you know what I'm saying? So if I bang out, I can still walk out there paid. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of like the mindset that I took from that, man. But yeah, man, it's a hustle, man. You got to reach out to folks. You got to solicit yourself. You just got to keep pushing, man. But I got a little more notoriety, and I can use that as a negotiating thing, and you know what I mean. So it helped in that way. But it was a good experience overall.
No, most def, man. And I mean, I didn't know that I thought this was a wave that you had started building, back in undergrad. I didn't know that, this was all, a 5, 6, 7 year run. So, man,
yeah,
man, that's definitely what's up. Now, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm not a poet or anything, but I will. Back in undergrad, we had a poetry troupe called Black on Black Rhyme.
Dope. dope.
Yeah, and it was I remember they used to have a night at Mount Zion, which is like, all HBCUs are in the hood. So if
Yep.
FAMU was in the hood, but it's like a friendly hood. It's like
Right.
they know that we not, we just students or whatever, so it's no problems or nothing. But of all people, T-Pain is actually a really good poet. Like, he used to be a dude being there, man. Who was this nigga singing, man? But it was yeah, it was.
I can imagine, man. Dude is mad talented. If you like his music or not, he's mad talented still. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Most definitely, man. Hey, we loved him. Like Tallahassee, when he had that sprung breakthrough, regardless what the world thought about him, man. We claim him at fam. I don't think it was any college.
Yeah,
but yeah, man.
I like T-Pain, man. I've always liked him.
Yeah, no, I definitely, man, a true artist, man. That dude's grind is, man, just unreal, man. I always say, man, people be in them positions for a reason, and he's
no doubt, man.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
No doubt. And man, I wanted to tell you, man. Like, I think it's huge that you're able to recognize, your flaws as an artist when you was in that space. Because I've heard you mention that, like, multiple times, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what, that's why I stopped rapping, because of my ego. It's like, man, you know what I mean? Like, that's huge, bro. That's growth like a mug.
Yeah, no, definitely. I received that, man. I definitely received that. Now, I do think something has to be done with it, and that's what I've been kind of struggling with lately. It's like, I don't want to be the guy who, always talks about when I'm still alive. I can do something about it. So that's my next my next step, man. But I definitely appreciate you acknowledging that. One thing about poetry that I do feel like is a little bit skewed, and I've done a couple poems, and I've also attempted stand-up comedy before as well. I feel like poetry is the only art form where when you're on stage, the people genuinely want you to do well. Because I've seen some trash poets that, they are up there kicking something that's hella average. And they still going, they snapping and all that. Like, and it's like, man, when I done been on that stage, Lamert Park, man, they booed me about it. They tried to get me about it. And, I was, man, hell with y'all, man. I'm in some Crip neighborhood talking crazy because and same thing, stand-up comedy, I done got up there, man, and it wasn't hidden. And they let you know. But poets, man, and I see a lot, I respect poetry as an art form, especially when it's done at a high level. I enjoy probably reading it the most, but I just see so many average and trash performances that people be just, come on, sister, and it's like that part to me, I just had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry, man.
Hey, but you know what, man? You make a valid point, because it's like when you see somebody up there and they struggling, like, you feel bad for them, like you're embarrassed for them. You know what I'm saying? Mm. But if you see somebody that's a comic up there and they bombing, you like, man, get your ass off this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't even. There's no feelings. It's like, all right, man, next. You know what I mean? So you're right, man. That's real valid, bro.
No doubt, man. So, while you're doing this Verses and Flow, were you able? Yep. How did you balance that? How long were you in LA? Did you have to like take a leave at work, or how did that work?
Oh man, yeah, I don't work for them no more, so I was sick for 3 days.
Man, hey, sometimes
I was sick for 3 days. I had my laptop with me, so I was able to, tend to urgent issues, so it didn't look too bad. But that was an opportunity I wasn't letting anybody get in the way of, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was going hella hot water. I was gonna be there.
Man, hey, shout out to paid sick time. Every now and then you just get sick for a couple of days. It just it happens.
You already know.
Man, dog. So, man, getting to modern day, I look up on Facebook. I look up on Instagram one day, and I see, man, I'm on Instagram looking at Deonte at Instagram, and you talking about job training, and I'm like, oh wow, man. So and then you had your going away party. You were going to Austin, and you're at Facebook. So how did that happen? Like, and you make that? Did you always know you wanted to move into like the tech space, or did you just come across a unique opportunity?
Man, honestly, man, I tell you, like, things really, like, when you put stuff out in the atmosphere, man, and you stay the course, like, eventually it comes full circle, man. Bro, I've been trying to get a gig with Facebook for like 6 years.
Wow.
Like legit 6 years. I was in the oil and gas industry for about 5 years, and I grew disgusted with that corporate structure.
Okay.
The politics of it all. Like, it was just, man, bro, like, I would wake up every morning like, yo, I don't want to go to this place, and I would go to work, and then I'm working on my art more than I'm working. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I would be on Facebook, and I would see, like, oh man, they got an office in Austin. Even if it was the right opportunity in California, I would go for it. But when I was applying at Facebook, I had maybe 4 or 5 years, experience in HR. So I had some of the positions that I would apply for. I have a little bit of experience here, a little bit of experience there, but not fully like for that position. But I was taking I was shooting my shot anyway. And, I never hear back, none of anything like that. And why I was so interested in Facebook was because of the culture, man. The culture is, they allow you to be your most unique and authentic self. I don't have to wear the slacks with the button up and a tie. Like, bro, I wore sweatpants to work yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wear whatever you want. The benefits are ridiculous. Like, they genuinely care. They genuinely care about your well-being. You know what I mean? And the hierarchy, you really feel like there's no hierarchy because there aren't any offices. Everyone sits on the floor. Your boss can be sitting 2 computers down from you. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you're free to really, they allow you to adopt the entrepreneurial mindset for when, say, you work in a different department and our paths cross. And you like, hey, Deonte, man, I need some help with this situation. Do you know anything about it? And I may know a little bit about it, but it's on me to make the decision to help you with it, to carry it out to completion, even if it doesn't have nothing to do with my department. It's like, all right, they're one of their mottos is, this is now your company, so act like it. You know what I'm saying? You see an issue, deal with it, even if it's not in your area. Find out who it needs to go to and handle it. You know what I mean? So the freedom, man, and the benefits, and just what Facebook stands for, man. A lot of people give Facebook a bad rep because of what they may have heard or the news that they put out there. Bro, it's nothing like that. They're all about building communities. Like, the mantra or the mission statement is connecting the world, allowing people all around the world to build communities, giving them the opportunity to build communities. It's all about groups. They're all about the stories. You know what I mean? And that's legit like what the environment is like. It's so diverse. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's about the same thing, man, building community. That's the mission.
Hey, that's dope. That is dope, man. So like, I'm always interested to hear about different organizational structures, because I just think that what we practice in standard American corporate business is just inefficient. WordPress, which was founded by Matt Mullenweg. He's a Houstonian, but a lot of people don't know that. But he actually went to U of H. But this guy has a $1 billion firm, Automatic, and every single employee is remote. So
it's crazy.
It's just, and I think sometimes at different corporate settings, it's almost like the departments are like, it's almost like we rep the department versus we all rep the same company. So what you just said about how your department, somebody else can bring an idea, and now it's on them to spearhead. Like, that is so dope, because I find myself so many times having ideas and just not wanting to, let me just stay in my lane. And once I definitely feel like as an organization, once you start having people self-police their ambition for greater good, then that's stepping into a real potential brain drain type of situation, because eventually that person is going to either want to find somewhere where they can express it, or they're just going to be, you're going to have somebody giving 90 instead of giving 100 because they feel like that other 10 won't be utilized. And then over time, that 90 that they were given at 27 turns into 88 at 32, turns into just a job. So
no, that's real, bro. That's real, man. I tell people all the time, man. Some people feel that like their purpose is to, because you find some people at certain corporations where they're just too good. Like it just comes super easy to them. Like those, like if you talk to them, they're like, "Oh man, I love it. Like this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm born to do." And they might be right. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't no way I can be that enthusiastic about this. But being in Facebook's environment, man, it's refreshing, because after 5 years of, at Chevron, and they went through these massive layoffs, I got caught in that wave last year in May. And I didn't realize how stressed I was, bro, until maybe 2 or 3 months after, when I didn't feel that way anymore. I was like, I was really stressed. But you working so hard, you working 12, 13 hours a day, it becomes normal. You know what I'm saying? Like stress becomes normal,
Man, no, that is real, man. So I think one thing I will say, man, because there are some really good things that I enjoy about, where I'm at right now.
For sure.
I think just knowing that not having to worry about, not having to walk on eggshells, like when people, I've had those jobs where it's just, everything is being looked at, and I'm really big on allowing people to take ownership. One thing I love about my department here is, we don't have a hard end time. Now, granted, you can't just you can't just come strolling in here at noon, but no one clocking, no one sitting there where you at if it's 8:30, if it's 9:30. You can't miss meetings and stuff like that. If someone specifically says, "Hey, we're doing this at that time," but generally speaking, you come in when you come in, you leave when your work's done. Just that general approach. I work so much more harder because of the freedom that I feel like, man, you know what? I appreciate the space so much that I don't want to do anything to compromise it, so.
That's real, man. That's the morale shift, man. And that's what these hard corporate companies don't understand. Is like, when you allow your people to be more free and not be micromanaged, you'll get more productivity out of them. You know what I mean? Because every day I've been like with this company, and I know it's only been, almost 2 months or whatever. So, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you still drinking the Kool-Aid?" But like, bro, like I wake up and I'm not feeling like I'm going to work. You know what I'm saying?
That's a blessing there.
Bro, I'm not feeling like I go to work. Like, they feed me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If I stay there until dinner, the benefits are ridiculous, bro. It's like crazy.
Man, they giving y'all a full 3 meals? Look at Zuckerberg, man. Bruh. 3?
Yep.
Man.
Full 3, bro. Man. Not no trash. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I mean, you got to pay for it? You got to just show your card or what?
Nah, bro. Nah, that's a part of your benefit package. Free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You get a fitness. You get a fitness stipend. I don't have to pay for a gym membership, because typically all of the Facebook locations in California, they have gyms in them. But because the Austin locations, we're in an office building. We got 5 floors in this office building, so there's not a gym. So we get a gym stipend. You know what I'm saying, for the year. So it covers your gym, you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They cover 100% of the medical. You know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous, bro. When I tell you it's ridiculous, like I can't even remember all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a nice package. Hey, man, I'm about to go renegotiate some things, man. Because University Show hit me for a hot $7 to go in that cafeteria for breakfast this morning, man. I paid
Nah,
for every
man, we
one of
got.
them eggs. I paid for every onion in that omelet, man.
Hey, bro, we got these things called micro kitchens, man, and it's unlimited supply of water, coffee, juice, whatever, man. They got the almond milk. You know what I'm saying? They got
Yeah.
snacks. They got Snickers, chips, popcorn, nuts, cashew, anything you want, bro. Like that's there to help you, do your job, man. They got it there, man. So and it's all just available to you. You know what I'm saying?
Man, most def, man. That's awesome, man. What
Yeah.
do you see like is there what percentage of brothers you think are not brothers? What percent of African Americans do you think are in your office?
I want to say I can give you a better number as far as like overall for the company. It's 1%.
So you represent for the culture.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but honestly, when I was in at the headquarters in Menlo Park, California, and I didn't. It's very diverse, but I didn't see many of us. But then when I got to the Austin office, though, I see a lot more of us.
Nah, that's what's up, man. And man, to be fair, I mean, I do think in tech, and a lot of companies are making diversity a priority. At the same time, I do think, and, as a person in tech, a lot of us aren't necessarily working on, especially just talking more on the development side, but we're not necessarily either aspiring for those positions. So it's not a big thing. You're not on the black tech scene and see people actually even going for it. So when I don't see that, and also when a lot of times we're not necessarily setting ourselves up with relevant experience that will make it something that we can confidently approach. I mean, I feel like there is an issue, but I feel like it's two-sided because one thing I had to learn as my degrees in business. So as a self-taught developer coming into a corporate setting, I had a lot of I had a lot of practices that weren't just simple industry standard. I didn't have a GitHub. I didn't use GitHub. I didn't use Bitbucket. I didn't use simple tools that everybody who's playing in that space uses. So when I'm sending somebody some code and I'm trying to like attach it in the email, I'm not, I'm at where it's war and I got some sticks and rocks. So it was a real crash course. So I do think I don't look at the company. That's one area of diversity where I do feel like, we have to meet in the middle, to really maximize that.
Yeah, man. You make that's exactly what I was going to say, man. Like you make a valid point. Our numbers are low like that in companies like that is because of, number one, lack of knowledge. Like a lot of folks don't even attempt to even see what's out there or know what's out there. Like folks didn't know that there were jobs with Instagram. There's jobs with WhatsApp. You know what I'm saying? Jobs with Oculus. All of those companies Facebook owns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like people are like, man, how'd you get a job with Facebook? I applied. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I applied. That was it. And I mean, I'm living proof that when I applied for them jobs 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't qualified. You know what I'm saying? I had some experience, but I didn't have enough. And, now when I went over to Chevron, I was there for 5 years doing global mobility outbound, working with these different countries, Australia, Singapore, Canada, Kuwait. I get to Facebook and I feel like an experienced hire because of that previous experience. I was like, like I thought the learning curve will be way further than where I'm at right now. But,
no, most definitely.
A lot. a lot of it is just like not even really applying, bro. You know.
What do you like? What's a typical day like? You go in. What'd you do today?
So today I got up at 4:30. I got to the gym at 5, worked out, and I got to the office about 6:45. I was the second one there. And working. Facebook is a meeting heavy culture. So, you might have 3 to 6 meetings a day, depending on how your calendar day go.
Okay.
So, I logged in, see, what replies I got from the cases I was working yesterday, checked my email. By the time I was done with that, it was time to eat breakfast, went down, got breakfast, came back. We had our team meeting for what we looking to do for the day. I had 2 or 3 meetings today. My last meeting ended at 4:15. I was out the door.
Man, that's all right. That's all right, man. Sound like a nice bureaucratic meeting filled day. So, that's definitely what's up, though, man.
Yeah, it's good, man. I can't complain. It's definitely a blessing, man. I asked for this years ago. I just didn't know when it was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, no doubt, man. And man, I just had a live on air vision, man. I think this would be great. Look, I was at Flatiron this past week, and I was just talking. It was a meeting about colors and getting colored people to code. Anyway, I met a couple people who were graduating, and they sent some resumes in, and it was just like you said, kind of like you described. Just wasn't really prepared. Maybe I'm gonna get with some of my resources, man. I think if we could set up some type of maybe mock interviews for some kids at maybe TSU or something like that, just a mock interview, man, that would be so cold for the culture, because a lot of us just don't know what we're supposed to have. And I'm reading their resumes, and I mean, I'm an entry level developer. I mean, now I would say, there's no one who ranks higher than me, so technically I'd be a senior developer. But this is a really relatively small operation. If I was, inside of a firm that had 100 developers, like a lot of these resumes that come through is just lacking, man. And but somehow we gotta get that information out, because these are computer science. Like, I'm not talking about kids who are self-taught. I'm talking about like real computer science graduates that I'm like, man, like, yo, you didn't even say, like, I read this resume and I don't know anything about you. So
right, yeah, man.
So
you gotta get to them young so that they understand the importance of it, man. Like, like us, we had to get turned around, and then get with some folks who were in the position where we wanted to be, and kind of pick their brain and be like, okay, this is what I wasn't doing. Okay, let me add this. Let me remove this. And you add it to your personal repertoire, and you build on it, and you grow, man. The thing is, you got to be humble enough to be like, yo, I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, real talk. Like, I want to know how'd you do that. I know my path won't be like yours, but I want to know, like, what steps did you take? And, that's why mentors are so important, man. My mentor, Gregory Scannell, man, he made me as an alpha man. He was an alpha. He was our grad advisor. And I saw how well he was doing for him and his family. And I asked him, once I was done with the process, I asked him if he could be my mentor. And he said, yeah. And, bro, every decision that I've ever made involving my career, I've ran it past him every time. And I kid you not, he's never steered me in the wrong direction, bro.
No, that's awesome.
Like I legit, I didn't have quick little story for, because I know it's running. I wanted to get into HR. I just moved to Houston. I was finishing up my MBA. I had no HR experience. So I just moved to Houston. I need a job. So I met this lady at a job fair. She had an internship at the city of Houston, paying like $8 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And then I had a job interview with Target for a team lead, paying $40,000 an hour. This 10 years ago. Like, you broke $40,000. It's like, yo, that's hey, I need that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, high 40 and 08 was good.
Yeah. Oh, listen.
Oh wait, Houston 40?
Yeah, right, exactly. That's like 60, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I hit him up. You know, the internship was in HR. And I hit him up and said, hey, man, I just moved. Like, he knew the situation. I said, but this internship, like, if I do well, you know, I can get on permanently, but, you know, it's like hit or miss. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? He said, Deonte, you're trying to get in HR. You don't have any HR experience. You can't get into HR without having any experience. Take the internship, man. It's only 3 months. Bro, it was so hard for me to be like, all right, but I did. And at the end of that 3 months, I got a permanent job, and that's where my experience started, man. And then from there, it was like, you know, 2 years, promotion to another company, another 2 years, promotion to another company, a year. Then I was at Chevron. I was like, man, I'm going to be at Chevron forever. And I was like, nah, I don't want to be here forever. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, but yeah, man, that's why mentors are important, bro.
Nah, man, most definitely. And just hearing that, man, I'm gonna really make it a point. Man, I was talking with the brother yesterday who's in the tech space. He has his own operation, and now he helps people kind of take their ideas and polish those into systems and processes and products, and even helps build them if it's an idea that he's moved by. But I mean, he was sharing so much insight. It was like, man, every sentence was like 3 things I didn't know. And I was like, oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, man, I didn't know that. Like, I'm telling him, like, yeah, I'm a developer. He's like, yeah, I remember when I was in house and before I moved on. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to study right now to know what I need to transition. That's why I'm learning Swift, because I feel like if I know the native language, then I can really build stuff. He's like, Swift, man, don't you know that most cross platforms are built with Angular? And I was like, oh, no, actually, I didn't. Like, so.
Wow.
So he just starts breaking down stuff, and I was like, oh, I mean, he really. Well, I went home with like 4 or 5 bullet points, but because of what you just shared, I'm gonna make it a point to, you know, see if I can speak with him more regularly, because you know, I have been lacking in that mentor area.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, and it was a conversation I had when he left BP. He left BP after 30 years, and he could, you know, he still wanted to work, but he didn't like how they was operating, and he left. When he left. And he's like talking like numbers, and he's like he's a millionaire. I didn't even know this, bro. I was like, what? From working at BP? And this was before I got into oil and gas, and I saw like, oh yeah, it's definitely possible. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this cat, you know. So I was like, yo, it's real out here, man. It's real out here.
Nah, man, that's definitely what's up, man. Hey, man, shout out to the alphas too, man. You the second alpha on the podcast, man. There's a episode actually be coming out probably tomorrow. A brother named Darwin Price. He's actually a pro boxer too, and
yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out, man. Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, he said let it be known. Hey, let it be known, like, yo, I just want y'all to know, I'm a boxer, I do that, dog, but I'm also an alpha. I was like, hey, you know, all right, cool. We'll make sure that we let it be known. So that's
hey, man,
that's definitely
connections. Connections are everything, bro. And I ain't gonna lie, like I've met, you know, some of the most influential folks in my network were through my organization, because, you know, I came in and you around these cats, and y'all hanging out, y'all having that brotherly talk, y'all talking about life, and you just see how they living, bruh. And you just like, man, you know what? I need to stay close, because that's the lifestyle that I want. You know what I'm saying? That's the lifestyle that I desire. And I know if I stay around them, it's going to keep me on my toes, because I can't come around them being no bum. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's real.
I ain't got nothing to talk to them about if I ain't about my business, or even trying to get there. You know what I mean? They give you free game, man, all day.
Nah,
just
that's
doing
real.
life.
That's definitely real, man. Hey, crazy thing, man. I'm Robert Mayberry the fourth, and my dad and my dad and my grandfather both were alphas. But my dad, he really ain't never given me the game. He never really talked about it. And then, you know, my grandfather, he passed when I was 16. So I didn't understand the concept. I just thought it was like, man, I ain't finna be spending 7-8 weeks doing it. I just, one thing when I was younger, I had this thing about giving people my time. I just hated the idea. So that was really the thing. But, if I would have knew what I knew now, I'm like, man, it's a lot of resource, a lot of stuff to come through, those type of organizations that I used to just turn my nose up to anything that wasn't me. If I wasn't the boss, I wasn't running it, I didn't want to do it. But that's That's definitely what's up, man. One thing I wanted to touch on, man, before we got out of here, man, is this. How do you feel about these? We need more black people coding or colored. Almost like the code is the answer type of thing that a lot of people are kicking. Pretty much in inner cities across the country. I might have some. I don't know. I got a view on that I'd like to share with you, but I wanted to hear yours first.
Mm-hmm. I think it's good, man. I think because I remember growing up, like that wasn't available. That wasn't available, or neither did we see it. So we didn't believe that it was an option. You know what I mean? And so now with resources being limitless, man, it's important to expose the youth to as much as possible, as early as possible, so that they can know early on what they want to do. Because for me, I had to trial and error, figure out what my niche was, because I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, freshman year of high school, I was like, I'm playing ball. I'm going to the NBA. I'm like, bro, you 5'10". Come on, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you all right. You ain't good like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's important, man. I think it's real important. I'm actually I was gonna the Afrotech conference is in California in Menlo Park, man. The weekend that I'm doing the urban ballet, man. But I was going to try and go for, my first time, because I just heard it was an amazing experience. It's just these black, folks in tech, folks who have their own apps, and you got these leadership panels, and you got, guest speakers, and it's all black. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even know. I didn't know about that until I started at Facebook.
Yeah, man, I just heard about it not too long ago, man. But I'm definitely interested in learning more about Afrotech. I went to the last one was just this past week. I got a chance to chop it up with a young guru. He's doing a lot to try to open up like Flatiron, which is the name of the school out here. It's like a 15-week learn how to code program. And he wasn't just there. It was another brother. I forgot his first. I think his name might be Elliot Taylor. But anyway, this is a guy who he works with ET Brands, but he's built like $25 million worth of businesses. And they had some players there. The one issue with the black people, we need to learn how to code conversation is, you work at Facebook right now, but you followed your passion. You work at Facebook doing HR. I think we're kind of getting away from we're leaving out the part that you actually have to be really good at it. Like, this idea that all you have to do is know how to code, and then you can walk up to Facebook and they need coders that bad that if you can write a line of JavaScript, they're like, come on in. It's just not true. And I want to see, and honestly, I think really understanding how startups work in the development process, and I just feel like that's a healthier conversation, versus just, hey, we all need to aspire to be software engineers. But all that said, I'm working on a program right now with a past guest named Devin, and we're going to be at Lawson Middle School starting in January. It'll be 2 days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 2 days a week. Teachers are going to pick 10 students, and we'll be working with them specifically on the iOS language Swift. But like I was telling him, we really started with values, because I just don't like the narrative that we're kind of putting out a little bit, where it's like code is gonna save us. Because to the white kids, they're not being told code is gonna save you. They're being told code is what you can use to build really cool things that you want to build. And I really want to get back to that message of like, man, hey man, we're learning this so we could build stuff. So anyway, that's my little 2-minute rant. I got a little Medium article coming out saying the same thing, man.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you most definitely on that. I guess what my thing was, I just feel that they need to be exposed to it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying like this is the end all be all, but it's an option, because for me, that was never an option. Never even knew about it. Didn't know what it was. Didn't have an interest in it. So when I get to college and I'm like, man, like this dude typing up 1,000 characters on a screen. Oh, I'm coding. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had to give my MySpace password to somebody else so they could hook up my MySpace page. They know how to code. Elementary, of course. But I feel like that it's my stance on that is that it needs to be presented as an option, though, not like, hey, this is, what you need to do. This is, the end all be all. But, it's there.
Most definitely. To your point, yeah, the exposure part of it, I do think is dope, man. And even growing up, two educated parents. When I was left to college, the options were business, or communications and try to be a lawyer, or engineering. I mean, that was it.
Those are the three. Those are the three buckets in a black household. And if all else fails, you can go be a teacher.
Yeah, hey, I had to teach that first year out of undergrad. So yeah, man.
Yeah, real talk. That's
we're gonna hit all those staples, man. Well, hey, man, you got some performances coming up too, man. One you were sharing with me that I think is just really a dope concept is gonna be the you said it was an urban ballet, and they're gonna be explain that whole setup, man.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, man, the Houston City Dance, they created this dance recital play, whatever you want to call it, this show called the Urban Ballet. And all of the dancing is inspired and done, illustrated through Tupac's music. So there's a story, and there's a story being told, man, and it's really surrounding like what we as African American males deal with today, with the struggles of living coming from a black family and police brutality and everything that's being brought. What Colin Kaepernick is kneeling for right now. You know what I mean? But these are classically professional, dancers, man. They're it's a mixture of ballet, urban, contemporary dance, classical, like everything. It's a mixture. And they use their movements of their body, man, to illustrate the story of, Tupac's words, man. And I've been fortunate to be a part of this production, man, the last 2 years, and they're bringing me back for a third year. And, it's every show is always sold out, man. Every show, diverse crowd, more white and Latina folks than African Americans, man. So it's always a really dope experience. So that's the week of November 14th, the 15th, and the 16th. You can go to Houston City Dance. They'll have it posted, and you can get updates and stuff there. But yeah, man, it's a real dope production, man.
Man, that's awesome, man. And if you want to sell it all the way, bring it home, do your set in a red bandana with a nose ring. That'll be.
Hey, I know, right? I think if I were if I looked more like Tupac, that would have sold it. But I look like I'm trying too hard if I did that, bro.
Hey, nah, no doubt, man. Well, hey, man, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. Hey, lots of jewels dropped as predicted. Man, brilliant insight, man, and man, I really, really want to get with you offline, man, maybe about this mock interview thing, man. But I just see great things coming from you. Already been doing great things, and now when you give somebody who's already has that philanthropic heart, even bigger platform and even more resources, man. I think Austin's gonna be a better city for having you there, man. And we close every show, man, with a commencement speech, man. Just let every guest just speak to the University of Rob J listeners, man, and just share whatever jewels, and, also no time constraints too, man, moving forward, you and all the other guests, you can always speak freely here. I'm going Joe Rogan with it, man. Hey, if it takes 3 hours to get it out, we're going to go 3 hours, but hey, man, just want to give you the floor, man, to share your jewels with us, man.
Oh, man. First off, man, I want to, thank you for the opportunity, man, just to, talk with you. I feel like this is, anytime we're in a setting, we tend to chop it up, but it's always in the midst of doing something else. So we can never really complete it. You know what I'm saying? It's always like, 10, 15 minutes here, like, bet, I'm gonna get back with you. I bet, you know what I mean? So this was real, man. I appreciate it. Got the chance to, learn a little bit more about you, man, and I like what you're doing, man, and I like the direction that you're looking to take things, man. So just keep pushing, man, and I think that this will continue to grow, and sky's the limit, man. But I just want to leave with your listeners, man. Don't ever give up. I know that sounds cliche, but don't ever give up on what is in your heart. You know what I'm saying? Always follow that discernment that God has placed in you, because I've learned from that, personally, in my personal life and my professional life. I've went against that discernment. Every time I went against that discernment, it came back to bite me in the ass. You know what I'm saying? So now, being in a space of freedom and understanding truly what my purpose is, and being in the situation that I'm in, that's how I live my life. Every day, if something doesn't feel right, I don't do it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm, negotiating something and something don't feel right, I back all the way out. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's God testing you to see if he can continue to bless you how you need to be blessed to fulfill the purpose that he's put on your life. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing, man. Follow that discernment, that feeling in your gut. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking to a young lady and y'all dating and something just don't feel right, but you're enjoying her company, but end all be all, it don't feel right, bruh, let it go. You know what I'm saying? If you at a job that feel like it's pulling you, and you literally not yourself when you're in that setting, you know what I'm saying? It's time to make a change, man. So just obey that discernment, man. That's like God's GPS, you know what I'm saying, system that he put in your body to let you know if something is right and if something is wrong, man. So that's all I got, man. That's how I live my life, bro.